Hi all, welcome to Off the Post for the season 22-23, getting this up and frequent much more this season. I know it's also got a new home and it's been on my second channel, getting this up and running. Used to have an old channel years and years ago, but I thought let's get this up and running just due to circumstances and so forth, and thought let's just have a bit of fun as well. So definitely an exciting season ahead, I hope, for football. We're obviously going to focus on Scottish football today for the preview. Obviously a lot of the leagues have kind of played already because as they prepare with like the World Cup and so forth, it's been a World Cup year, so we're obviously trying to be kind of like a step ahead. But obviously Scottish football starts back this afternoon, and we're just going to kind of dive into it and kind of give our thoughts on it and say where we feel teams will finish, but also thoughts on like transfers and all that kind of stuff from like mainly the Scottish Premiership, but also kind of give a little bit of breakdown into like the Scottish football like tables as a whole, see where we think who will stand out, who will not, and all that kind of stuff, really, because it's going to be interesting, I think, where, or at least in my opinion anyway, of like where people might finish and where they'll kind of become this time next season. So in terms of the Scottish Premiership, for me personally, I am thinking at the moment that St Johnstone are certainly a strong shout for going down. Big reason obviously Callum Hendry has went to Salford, and that's a big reason a lot of their goals will be missing. But even in general, Nosander Clark as well was a big part. I genuinely do kind of feel like they will struggle. Like they've tried to bring in wisely like Graham Carey, Considine, Ryan McGowan, Jamie Murphy and Ray Wright, but Murphy and Wright obviously with Hibs they didn't do much, and like Remy Matthews from Crystal Palace isn't exactly the most encouraging goalie, I suppose, but they're at least looking at like options to kind of give them a chance. But yeah, it's not the like most like encouraging, but we'll see how it goes. Ross County, for them obviously going like they've got a couple of signs from like Canada, like William Akio. A few people have said to me could be an interesting signing. Same for Laturi, but I feel like they've brought a lot of players in on like free transfers. Jan Dandas obviously, and Ben Purrington. Like they've got like half decent experience in England, but where they and like Hiwala as well. But it's where they're going to do the difference for Ross County is a different matter, because the biggest weakness for Ross County is they don't have Regan Charles Cook, who went to Eupen after a good season last year, and obviously being a free transfer. And it's worth noting as well that quite a few teams were like looking at Charles Cook from Rangers, Celtic, Hibs, Hearts, teams in England, not to be obviously, but and ended up going to Eupen, which is a bit of an interesting transfer. But as I said, we don't make the rules, as it were. Hearts have been more a case of precise with their signings, like Alan Forrest, Kai Rolls, Jorgie Grant, and Lawrence Shanklin. That's kind of like the main pieces of the puzzle, like getting an hour forward and spending just over £400,000 on Shanklin. Forrest and Grant, as far as I believe, were Alan Forrest was a free transfer because his contract ran out with Levy, and Jorgie Grant I believe was like say an undisclosed bit of business. Obviously John Suter going is the only real thing that's kind of worried maybe them a little bit, and obviously Mekanev went out to Australia, is what it is. Aberdeen spending a lot of money on a lot of different players, namely $500,000 on Majowski of Budapest, then Duck, as he's known for the Benfica B team, then Jaden Richardson from Nottingham Forest, Randani and Callum Roberts both getting £100,000 each spent on them, so a bit of ambition there. Then obviously like Kel Roos taking Joe Lucy's number 1 spot right away, which is a bit of interesting business, and Liam Scales as well. Then obviously the biggest parts from Aberdeen's point of view is Calvin Ramsey and Lewis Ferguson getting basically $7 million guaranteed, like $7.5 million guaranteed, but obviously the like in Ramsey's case they've still got more money to factor in, so if obviously with the add-ons and so forth, so and obviously Aberdeen losing Declan Gallagher to St Mirren, McGeoch's left, Michael Devlin, Ojo, so there's definitely quite a few players have left the club, but it is worth highlighting that Jim Goodwin is trying to be quite ruthless with the team. In terms of Jack Ross at Dundee United, Dylan Levitt obviously signing permanently for Man United for £300,000 was seen as good business, and he's obviously got the World Cup to factor in as well for Wales. He'd like playing it, so fair play to him for thinking I want game time, where am I going to get it, and that's a good way to look at it. Stephen Fletcher, veteran forward, knows the league well under his time at Hibs, had good experience in England, could be an interesting transfer for them. Betch from Gironspur, free transfer, interesting bit of business because he's another one. He'll be factoring World Cup here, what to get game time and all that kind of stuff. See what he can do for them. Craig Sibbald from Livy, and obviously Glenn Middleton, a recent signing, and then because they lost Seagrest to Celtic, Brigetti is who they've brought in return, but they've obviously let go of quite a lot of players like Kevin McDonald, was given a bit of game time, a chance at the club, obviously has good experience in England, but Adrian Sporrell, Trevor Carlson, Carson even, Callum Butcher, Mark Conley, so they've definitely a lot of experienced heads. Motherwell obviously having a horrible summer, mainly because they lost in the first ties that were for Europe, getting knocked out to Sligo. Graham Alexander got sacked. It is also worth noting as well that the team have only won like 3 times since like ended like on 2022 or something, so yeah, they still managed to get into Europe, so it's like unbelievable. Kind of shows the state of the league at times. Like they've only really brought 3 players in Blair Spittle, Josh Morris and Paul McGinn, all 3 transfers, kind of says everything. And then quite a lot of players just kind of going out, like Liam Donnelly, Mark O'Hara, Jordan Roberts and Woolery, and even Grimshaw. You can kind of put a bit of weightage on his name as well, but Motherwell at the moment need to get their finger out because they genuinely are in a bit of a state, as it were. I think it's safe to say. Kilmarnock, for them, Gary Woods, Alan Power, Zach Hemming, Lewis Mayo, Jordan Jones have tried to get depth everywhere. Obviously, like they've lost quite a few players in return from obviously going up, namely like Colin Doyle and Hunstrop, probably, and Ewan Murray, probably like the 3 most notable ones. You could even give Jason Naismith a bit of thingway as well, because obviously going to Queen's Park is a bit of an interesting transfer. And obviously Stephen McGinn did a little bit for them, and Chris Burke's obviously been there a number of years and now retired, so a few experienced heads have left the team, but it's going to be an interesting one. Like St Mirren, I've tried to be not necessarily flashy, but some people have them for going like down, which At the moment, I'm trying to see where they'll go down, because I feel like they've done some shrewd signings like Bacchus from Western Sydney, Mark O'Hara, Ryan Strain, Declan Gallagher, and Trevor Carson. If Trevor Carson can stay fit, then you've got a half decent goalie in the league, because he's always been a consistent goalie in the league. It's just injuries and health the last few years has kind of hampered him. But he's proven to be a consistent goalie within the division. Like, for them going out, like Jack Alnwick going to Cardiff, interesting transfer there. Matthew Miller, Conor McCarthy, and then obviously Alan Power. But for me at the moment, like, it's they have a chance of going down, but it's like them along with potentially Ross County, Kilmarnock and St Johnstone. So it's like you maybe say four, maybe even Motherwell. So you've got like 4 or 5 teams that have a shout for going down. Livingston, with them, it's nothing really screams out great transfers, really, if I'm honest, because like, it's free transfers as well, like a lot of the teams do in the league. But it's like Kankar from Western Sydney, a veteran of the league in Esmel Goncalves, Bahan Bula from Oldham. Not sure how he'll cope, because at times he flattered to deceive, I believe, for Oldham, and Bitsendu from Liège, which is an interesting one. But as I say, I'm not sure if he's got this ability for the league. Who knows? Like, obviously for them going out, they've lost like Alan Forrest, Keegan Jacobs, Craig Sibbald, Jack Hamilton, Marvin Bartley's retired. Good veteran, good classic player as well. He's done his business, but we'll see what happens with that one, because yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Hibs, obviously, they've certainly had a bit of interesting summer. A lot going in, a lot going out. Obviously, I'll probably talk about them a fair bit this season in general. Tavares, Aidan McGeady, Nora Kenny, David Marshall, Calabraja, Rocky Bashiri, Lewis Miller, Bojang, Juan, all coming in, and it's certain, like, Aidan McGeady obviously is out for 2-3 months, and like, for me, like, Cabrajas obviously came in because Josh Doigs went out for 3 million to 3.2 million to Hellas Verona. We've lost Matt Macy to Luton, and obviously from there we've lost Jamie Murphy, Dan McGregor, David Mitchell, Paul McGinn, Dre Wright, Sean Mackey, Alex Gogic, Scott Allen, so, and obviously Harry Clark's as well. Never really got a chance at Hibs, which was a bit of a shame for us, because we'd like to have him, but it's just joys of the loan. But yeah, we've kind of stripped away but brought in quite a lot in return. And for me, looking at the squad, like, there's depth there. I think for Hibs, we're concerned with the injury problem again within the club, and that's what's going to hamper us. I feel like if we're riddled with injuries, what is going on with the team? Because, like, when I look at the team, there is, you have a bit of hope with, like, Tavares, with Marshall, with Cabraja, and then for what we've seen of Juan in one of the pre-season games, he scored 5 goals against Norwich's under 23s. And with all the paperwork kind of sorted, you never know, Juan might just step right in, and, like, we'll say today against St Johnstone, maybe, and for all you know, he scores a hat-trick. You suddenly say to yourself, my word, this kid's talented. But you never know. Like, with Dan McGregor, obviously he's part of the B team, but he's also part of the coaching with them, so, like, he's still got an involvement, which is fair play. So, I mean, and that's the way I look at it. And, like, it's gutting to lose Allen, because a fully fit Scott Allen without any health problems would not be at Hibs. He'd probably be a much bigger team. But he's certainly a what if type of player, but he's been a good servant for us. He's been someone we've liked. On to Rangers, they've made a lot of business going out, and we'll get through the going in business first. Ben Davies, Ridvan Yilmaz, Rabbi Matondo, Antonio Kolak, John Stewart, Tom Lawrence, and Malik Tillman, all getting brought in on various business. So like 4 million for Davis, I think it's 3 million, but one on top. Yilmaz for just over 3.5. Matondo for 2.5, just over 2.5. Kolak just shy of 2. And then Tom Lawrence and John Stewart for free transfers. I would not exactly complain. Certainly good business there. Then like going out, Calvin Bassett for 20 million, a bit of interesting business. Joe Aribo for Southampton for just over 6. Getting just over 1.5 million for Cedric Itten is good business. Obviously Balogun's went as a free agent, which could be seen as a bit of a shame, but if Rangers have felt, nah, we don't need him now, then fair enough. But it's going to be an interesting battle between first and second this season. I like Celtic and Rangers should kind of be the front two. It's just a case of where it goes from there. For coming in Celtic's case, when you look at their business, Jota and Carter Vickers both for like 6 million each. Bernabei for like just shy of 4. Aaron Mui, Maida's transfer I believe became permanent for just over 1 million. Siegrist, Moritz Jens on loan for Lorient. It's been kind of like precise business as it were. Obviously they've lost like Near Bitton, they've lost Karamoko Dembele's went now, never really kicked on. Bolingoli, Barkas, is Milasso, like Urgaheid, Montgomery, Afolabi, Rogic. So there's definitely some interesting business still to be kind of like had. And when I look at the league, like for me personally, I would say like my top 6 will be like Celtic, Rangers, Hearts, Aberdeen, Hibs, and probably Dundee United. If I'm honest, that would probably be my top 6. Like bottom 6 I feel will be like Livingston, Ross County, Kilmarnock, St Johnstone. It's kind of, that's where I'm kind of Motherwell, like they're kind of where I think the top 6 and the bottom 6 almost feels like it should be quite academic. It's more a case of who just in essence finishes where. That's what it's going to come down to. Because it's, if I'm honest, that's just the way it'll go, or at least that's where I'm thinking it'll go. In terms of like Championship, League 1, League 2, for me I feel Dundee, Inverness, Partick, Hamilton, Arbroath all will be competitive. You never know, Cove Rangers could, but I think where it'll prove quite a difference maker is the likes of like Dundee, Inverness, Partick. Well, not necessarily Partick, but Hamilton, Rafe, Ayr. We've all got quite decent sized squads. It might go against like Cove and Queen's Park, and even Partick to an extent. Like Arbroath, even though they've got quite a small squad, and were very close to going up last season, they were very unlucky. I think they've definitely got a chance of going back up. If they get into the playoffs, they'll be delighted. It will be hard, but personally I'm of the mindset that Dundee should be seen as favourites. Inverness, Partick, Hamilton should all run close. But for what I've seen of some of the teams in the division just now, I would kind of lean towards maybe Greenock going down with maybe Queen's Park at the moment. League One, Dunfermline should be seen as the runaway favourites along with Queen of the South. But like Edinburgh's Edinburgh and Kelty, I think Kelty will certainly be looking to go right up as well. They're going to try and do a Cove and a la Gretna, but I think in Edinburgh's case they've got the partnership with Hibs, so they'll be trying to take players from Hibs that helps them accordingly. Dunfermline try to be shrewd with their business. Like Falkirk should have an expectation of going up, and you could even kind of say like maybe even like like most of that division will feel like they should be going up. Like Dunfermline, Queen of the South, Falkirk, Airdrie, Kelty and Alloa. It's then just a case of saying that Clyde, Peterhead, Montrose maybe all fighting to try and stay up, as it were, but see how it goes. But I think my 4 that I would say for like going up and slash playoffs would be Dunfermline, Queen of the South, Falkirk and Airdrie. Kelty might be up there. It's just a case of depending how they take to the league pretty quickly, I suppose. And then obviously in League 2, Bonnyrigg rose, fair play to them. Being quite shrewd with a bit of their business, getting Kevin Smith up front could be certainly like handy bit of business, because he's experienced within the Scottish divisions, and I feel like the team, because they'll have kept most of the team from that got up, so they'll have faith in a lot of the team anyways. So they'll be saying to themselves, right, what like they were unlucky in their League Cup. They showed a decent bit of promise, so there's definitely things to take from it. For me personally, for going up, I think East Fife and Dumbarton will be looking to try and get back up. East Fife have shown in, I think, the League Cup there's definitely a bit of work to be had. I think Annan, Elgin, Forfar and Stirling Albion might be looking to try and get themselves up as well, but who knows, maybe even a Bonnyrigg might sneak up, we don't know. But personally, I think there's definitely a bit of work. Like, this could be the most, I would say out of the 4 divisions, this could be the most competitive of the 4, only because with some of the teams just not performing well in recent seasons, and it just feels very open because of how some of the teams have been performing in my eyes. But I'm sure they'll all give it a good go, be a bit of fun and so forth. But from there, obviously by like the time this goes live, Livy Rangers was the early kick-off, 12 o'clock. Then Hearts, Killie, St Johnstone, Hibs games were all 3 o'clocks. Then you had 2 for Sunday, because obviously Motherwell were in Europe, in and out of Europe, as it were, you could even just say. And Celtic Aberdeen obviously is like the Sky game as well for 4:30. My thinking is Celtic will get results and Mirren gets results on the Sunday games. Then obviously for today's games, I'm going Livingston to get a result against Livingston to get a result against Rangers, yeah sure. Rangers to get a result against Livingston, Hearts to beat Ross County, Dundee United to beat Killie, and then I feel Hibs will just do enough against St Johnstone despite both teams' current situations. But we'll see how it goes, folks. Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are for the Scottish football ahead. As I said, we'll aim to do transfers maybe every night, just recapping the day's transfers. because I talk about when I'm on stream, and it's been quite fun actually. I've been quite enjoying talking on stream about like the transfers, and certainly see how business goes for a number of teams. And sometimes you find that like obscure transfers that you say, oh, that's an interesting one, so we'll maybe get that done every night, just do like a transfer recap. Maybe it's only just a quick 5-minute thing, so 5-10 minute thing, and just a bit of fun. So let me know, folks, as I said, your thoughts on everything. Smash likes always, sub to chat for you now. Much appreciated, folks, and I will catch you all later.